Hello and welcome to this best of 3 series between Czarix and Alrik role in the Warhammer League. Be sure to like and subscribe for more games, and let's get into it. Today we have a Tomb Kings against Ogre Kingdoms matchup on Jade Tomb, which is an extremely long map, and this is definitely a tough matchup though, either way. So let's do a small analysis beforehand and see which player is doing what as their current wind condition. So first, when it comes to this specific map, it really is good for kiting styles. So if Alrik were to go into a kiting, let's say Leadbelcher kiting, this would be a good map for him. But the problem is they are chosen of the gods. And there are other Ushabti Great Bows potentially in the reinforcements here for Czarix. So this matchup is pretty tough from my experience for the Ogres, just because there is a lot of chaff that is not too easily clearable unless you have Burning Head. And there is just a lot of pokey sticks, and the shooting is also very good from the side of the Tomb Kings. So you would usually want to contest the shooting from the Ogre side, but the Chosen of the Gods and the other Ushabti Great Bows just make it so much harder. And we also see two specific heroes, which are the Necrotects here. So this one, and they are on foot. So they're pretty slow, but the thing that they do is with a special item called Vambraces of the Sun, they actually have and apply the debuff called Blinded, which is minus 24 and minus 30 accuracy. So he is basically going to saturate the spears with a Necrotect to make sure that he wins any sort of fighting when it comes to the Ogre side. And that is extremely annoying, especially to kill these guys, because they're classic heroes, so they are pretty good at hitting stuff. They also have fire damage. They're also pretty good at clearing Noblars. They're not the best, but if they hit one unit from, let's say, an Ogre Bull, or let's say a Crusher, even worse. Let's say they hit a Crusher here. They're going to tank their stats, such that only because of their bonus versus large, they're going to be able to hit stuff. So we also have the Sphinx of Uskept, which is a Necrosphinx that is specific to anti-large. Again, most of the side from the Ogre Kingdoms is large, so this is just a great unit in general. And we have Archon with his little staff that basically decreases cooldown and increases power recharge. So he's going to be spamming this to get as much recharge, and he only took Spirit Leech, which is to snipe the Lord, the Slaughtermaster, and Doom and Darkness, because Ogre Kingdoms are generally a very low leadership faction. So this is going to be a type of just attack a flank, break it with the Doom and Darkness, and then move on. You also have the Tomb Blade of Archon, which is just an amazing thing. You get 5 charges of summoning in Skeleton Warriors. So whenever your Ushabti or your other carry pieces generally stop, or are, let's say, burning headed, let's say a spearman is burning headed, you can just summon another one. And the Fizz Res is also great with the Libra Mortis. So it looks like that the win condition for the Tomb King side is basically probably going to be summoning in some Necropolis Knights, maybe another Ushabti, and then peppering the other side until they're dead. Also with the carry of the Sphinx. From the Tomb Kings, Ogre's side, we have a Great Maw caster with Troll Guts, and I saw Crushers. Crushers are extremely elite heavy cavalry. They're super armored, they're super strong, they have huge weapon strength, 144. So these guys are basically there to kill something like a Sphinx or the Chosen of the Gods if they can catch them. We also have a Giant, which is awesome. Like, these guys are super cool because they have huge weapon strength, right? And if they go up against something that is like, let's say, a Sphinx, Sphinx has 3k less HP than the Giant. So they're going to have, even though this guy doesn't have like bonus versus larger or anything, he's going to still hit the Sphinx most of the time. And then he can actually contest this. Also, he's just a huge damage sponge. So even if you try focusing a giant, if you don't kill it, it's just super tough to actually get rid of. They also have 15% resist from missiles, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, it's just Noblars and Bulls. So this seems to be just a general rush. Oh, we have actually 2 Crushers with great weapons. So this is going to be, from the looks of it, just a straight up rush from Alrik's side, trying to overwhelm, because how can he stop these 2? He's probably also going to summon a Fire Belly right after this. By the time that they get close to engaging each other, it is going to be just a Fire Belly that's going to run, overcast a Burning Head to try and get rid of the units that are stacking on the elite stuff that is like the Chosen of the Gods. So we have a first volley here up into the Giant directly. Deals nice damage. He kind of moved out of most of the shots. They're pretty accurate, but they're at max range. So on the approach, he's just going to take a bunch of damage. But as you see, like, he still has 10k HP. If this was shooting into, let's say, an Ogre Bull unit, it would have been like 30% damage. But again, Czarix knows that if he just kills the Giant mostly, there's not going to be enough stuff to clear out the chaff, and then he can just fight it. Also, if he gets this Necrotect into these Crushers, they're going to just tank their stats. We're going to see that very, very shortly. But yeah. So he's going to retreat with his bows, and he just took a double cap. His point, the idea for Czarix here, is just not to relinquish the one objective here. So if he gets triple capped and stuffed into his spawn, this is going to be a pretty tough time for him. But the Giant is already at half HP. He's just going to run with the Chosen of the Gods and then start tar pitting everything with spears. And yeah, spears are going to die, but Tomb Guard are not gonna die. And I feel like this is already doing an engagement between the 2 players. I feel like there was a missed priority from Alrik here to summon a Fire Belly as his first summon if he's already going to rush. Especially since he sees the entire enemy army just being spears and swords, right? There is just this one Tomb Guard. This is the only thing that isn't able to be Burning Headed away. And now that he engages, this is just going to be a pretty tough fight for him. So there goes the Liber Mortis to defend the Chosen of the Gods on their back, and a great summon from Archon here, just tar pitting everything to try and get the units out, as well as the Necrosphinx just coming in. If we get also a Necrotech just hitting all of the units here, they're going to be blinded, basically. Yeah, here we go, for the Ogre Bulls. The Crushers, thankfully, haven't been hit with that yet. But this looks just like a very bad pit fight. And it's actually a Mournfang Cav summon. Oh, man. It really shows that this entire blob would just be deleted by one Burning Head right now. And nothing could stop them, except for the Tomb Guard, of course. But yeah, let's see how the grind goes. The Sphinx is doing pretty well into the Crushers. The Slaughtermaster is technically getting hunted by the Necrotect, but that kind of doesn't matter, at least right now. And we have a summon of the Eyes of the Desert. Eyes of the Desert are probably the best unit to support this type of army, because they're just gonna laser beam these Crushers. And these Crushers are just trying to charge out and go into Spearmen, because they know that the Sphinx is actually hunting them. So currently, it's still a big blob fight, and it's unclear that who will win. But it's very nice that Czarix is actually holding here, just so that he doesn't die. And I think we actually saw a Troll Guts go down on the Giant, because he's over 50% HP right now. Tomb Guard, let's look at this a bit. So, Tomb Guard are kind of just grinding here. Spearmen are holding. This one Necrotect managed to rout out some Noblars, that's fine. But these Mournfang are here for getting these Chosen of the Gods. They're like super hunting them. Also, Crushers surrounding a Sphinx is a pretty good fight for them. The Sphinx actually does need a lot of support to be able to beat something like Crushers. But if these Spearmen just go into here, and yeah, Czarix actually understands that, and he's just getting the Sphinx basically tar pitted in the Spearmen. Also, sorry for the Discord. That is me. That's not you. The Eyes of the Desert are actually setting up pretty nicely, and it seems that they did clear the entirety of this spawn. So it's looking pretty good for Czarix here, especially with the Necropolis Knights with halberds actually catching the Mournfang Cav, and then with the support of the Chosen of the Gods, who already have, like, they have 13 shots left, and they already paid for themselves. That's crazy. Also, the Necropolis Knights coming in clutch from Czarix and just going in to help. And yeah, here comes the Fire Belly. That's too late of a summon for the Fire Belly, honestly, because with the time that this fight has been going on, there could have been at least 2, maybe even 3 Burning Heads overcasted. Maybe not overcasted, but like 2 overcasted, 1 undercast or so. That would have cleared out, let's say, these skeletons, these spears. And yeah, Alrik immediately taps out after the rush didn't work, because this was a plain rush. And even though the Crushers did pretty good, like these guys did 1200, these guys did terribly 600. They just got caught up in nothing. And the Giant basically did nothing. He knocked the Spearman around or something. He has basically 1 kill. Same for the Slaughtermaster. But yeah, I think this was totally winnable for the side of Alrik Rawl. Just that his summon priority wasn't on point in this specific map. He summoned an Ogre Bull, right, as his first summon, and then he did Mournfang Cav, which is fine, or a Saber Tusk, I don't remember. But if he just did the Fire Belly with the kit that he brought it probably with, is just 1000 or so, with like Burning Head and Kindle Flame. Bare bones. So he could have not summoned the Ogre Bulls, summoned the Fire Belly, and then melted these 4 Spearmen, which were the main support. Look at this. All of these guys paid for themselves. And the main point, even if they didn't pay for themselves, they just stood there tanking the damage from the charges, right? Also, these Necrotects I feel like did very well. Even though they didn't get much value, they just applied the blind debuff into all of the charges, and so they basically won. Sphinx almost paid for itself. Chosen of the Gods paid for themselves. That's like super good. Necropolis Knights. Yeah, let's actually analyze the back army. So he had a couple of Vultures just to tie down some Lead Belchers if there were any. Eyes of the Desert. They are auto-include another Ushabti Greatbow, which is great. Again, if this was some sort of Lead Belcher style play, he would have just summoned another Ushabti Greatbow and then gone for it. These guys are there to just do general support if need be for the late to mid game, when there are less units and the debuff for getting shot by arrows is being applied, and then just standard stuff here. Yeah, very well played by Czarix, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next game.